If you've been carrying the weight of trying to lead your family, fix your image, meet expectations, and still feel like you're falling short, this one's for you. Christian family leadership doesn't start with performance, it starts with surrender. God's word for today comes from 2 Corinthians 3:17. Know the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Brothers, let me speak to you straight. Spiritual formation isn't about looking holy. It's not about having a checklist of Christian habits or pretending we have it all together. It's about being shaped from the inside out to reflect the mind and heart of Jesus, and that shaping begins with surrender. Real surrender, not the kind we talk about in church, but the kind that keeps us up at night, the kind that says, Lord, your will, not mine, even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense, even when I feel like I'm losing control. And maybe that's the point. We were never meant to carry the weight we keep dragging around. The pressure is to lead perfectly, provide constantly, never mess up, always have the answers. It's crushing. But when we try to control everything, we end up controlled by fear, by pride, and shame. And, gentlemen, that is not freedom. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being free from the junk that enslaves us. Fear of failing, pride in our own strength, sin that keeps pulling us back, and doubt that tells us we're not enough. Boy, I've gone through that recently. God isn't asking us to be superheroes. He's asking us to be surrendered. When we say thy will be done, and we actually mean it, not just with our lips, not by rote, but with our hearts, our habits, and our leadership, we step into a different kind of strength. It's not passive, it's not soft, it's not weak. It's battle tested strength that says, I don't need to be in control because I know who is. That's the strength your family needs. Your wife doesn't need a flawless husband. Your kids don't need a perfect dad. They need a man who is anchored in Jesus, led by the Spirit, and willing to go deeper into obedience. That kind of leadership starts when we stop chasing performance and start pursuing presence. The presence of God will form you, break you, reshape you, and rebuild you if you let Him. You see, that's the kind of spiritual formation that matters. That's the kind of man who becomes a true shepherd in his home. Oswald Chambers once said that being a disciple means living in holy relationship with God, not just knowing about Him, but actually walking with Him. And if we're going to walk with God, we've got to put down whatever we've been dragging behind us and pick up the sword of truth. Paul in Ephesians 6 paints the picture of a warrior, a man who puts on a spiritual armor and steps into battle. That's you. That's me. Not fighting for applause or approval, but fighting for legacy, fighting for our families, fighting for the next generation. My wonderful pastor and friend, Pastor Jonathan Murky, said something that hit me hard. He said, our legacy reaches farther than we think. What we do today echoes through the lives of our children and grandchildren. That's just not motivational. That's truth. When you surrender to God's will, you set your family free from the false expectations you used to carry. You start leading from a place of peace, not pressure, and that changes everything. You start hearing God's instruction daily, straight from His Word, not just as verses on a page, but as a weapon in your hands. The Bible becomes your sword. And brother, that sword was never meant to sit on a shelf. It was meant to be wielded with purpose. When we live as surrendered men, we become spiritual warriors, not just for our own growth, but for the sake of our families. That's why this matters. That's why spiritual formation isn't optional. It's our responsibility, not just as Christians, but as men, as shepherds, as protectors. So I implore you, let go of the mirror. Stop trying to measure up to something God never asked of you. Let go of the pressure to be everything and rest in the truth that Jesus already is. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is strength, the kind that lasts and the kind that serves. Men, you surrender. Let me just remind you that the Men of the Shepherd is available, if you haven't been there, to menoftheshepherd.com. And you can sign up on the email there and get the daily notices when I post. I do post Mondays through Fridays as a result of my own daily reflections. So let me offer this personal prayer to you, which comes right from the devotional on the website. So God, help us to stop chasing control and start living surrendered. Teach us to trust your will, fight with your strength, and lead our families with courage and peace. And with that, gentlemen, I surrender. Shalom.